It's 1923, the residents of a small village known as Hoher Verde, around 600 men, women, and children, disappeared overnight without the slightest trace. When a passing traveler arrived the next morning, he found half-eaten meals, chairs toppled to the floor, and personal belongings strewn about in total disarray. It was as if everyone had abandoned their homes in mid-conversation, vanishing into thin air. The single clue? A chalkboard in the village square with a scribbled message. There is no redemption. Today, we're diving into 13 of the most shocking cases of time travel and parallel worlds. Bizarre disappearances, people appearing out of nowhere, and stories that defy all logic. If you think time moves in a straight line, these stories will make you question everything. If not, this video will change your mind. Now, let's go back to Brazil. To this day, no conclusive explanation exists. Some theorize that the village might have been involved in a clandestine ritual, a dark gathering that opened a dimensional rift, swallowing 600 souls at once. Others maintain it was the work of a hidden sect that orchestrated a mass exodus into dense jungle regions. But official records? Silent. Witnesses? None. The idea of entire communities vanishing in a moment triggers a primal fear of collective disappearance, as if an entire chapter of history can be wiped clean with no survivors. When you think about it, how stable is your own sense of place, of community? Could it be that we walk daily on the razor's edge of a hidden gateway, one that might snap us away from the world we know? Remember, sometimes what's truly terrifying isn't the why, but the how it all happened. There was no sign of chaos or violence, only eerie silence. That silence begs the question, where did they go? The Dawdleston messages travel next to 1984 in the quiet village of Dawdleston, England, where a schoolteacher named Ken Webster claims he began receiving bizarre electronic messages on his humble BBC microcomputer. Except the sender of these messages insisted he was living in the year 1546, over 4 centuries in the past. Ken's computer had no internet connection. This was the 80s, after all. Each new message appeared in old forms of English, discussing everyday life in the 16th century. The stranger, calling himself Lucas, believed that Ken was the ghost in his home. Their window of contact? A supernatural channel bridging centuries, one that might have been an accidental time slip, or an interdimensional chatroom. Skeptics cried hoax, but linguists analyzing the Old English found it astonishingly accurate. For a small-town teacher to invent entire paragraphs of historically correct Middle English demanded an incredible level of scholarly skill or an unearthly encounter. Even more unsettling, Lucas claimed that he saw Ken's messages as if they were written on his chalkboard. 2 times, same house, but centuries apart, coexisting. Picture sitting at your computer and receiving a direct line to the past. Think of the technology. Now, imagine if the future is similarly leaving you cryptic messages. Are you the ghost in their timeline? Or do you sense that the boundaries between present and past are more fragile than we dare suspect? A stranger was found wandering near Frankfurt an der Oder. He identified himself as Joffre Voren, claiming to hail from a land called Laxaria on a continent named Sacria. Maps meant nothing to him. He pointed to empty spots, insisting, "This is where my home should be." Authorities questioned him endlessly. He spoke a strange language reminiscent of German, yet tinted with unknown words no one recognized. Oddly enough, he could read and write a form of Latin. Was this man simply deranged? Or was he from a parallel Earth with slight geographic and linguistic differences? After rigorous interrogation, Voren vanished as mysteriously as he arrived. No one saw him flee or heard a commotion. It was as though he merely phased out. The official records mention a bizarre foreigner, but no rational explanation. Could he have been an interdimensional traveler stumbling into the wrong reality? This story challenges your sense of geography. Could entire continents exist in parallel Earths? What if home is just out of phase with our reality? The mind reels at the possibility that someone might slip between worlds, and that you might do the same without even realizing it. Pilot Bruce Jernon took off from Andros Island in the Bahamas on what should have been a routine flight. Suddenly, an immense lenticular cloud engulfed his plane, forming a swirling tunnel of luminous fog. Instruments went haywire, the horizon blurred, and within 3 minutes, Jernan found himself over Miami Beach, a journey that should have taken at least half an hour. Bewildered, he discovered he had traveled roughly 100 miles in those mere minutes, an impossible distance at his aircraft's top speed. All clocks and navigational devices read the wrong time. It was as though he flew through a temporal wormhole, or a time vortex, as some call it. Skeptical meteorologists point to electronic fog, or bizarre weather phenomena, but they can't fully explain the radical shifts in time and distance. Jernan stands by his account, asserting it felt like a dimensional corridor had opened, briefly bending the rules of space-time. Next time you glance out an airplane window, consider, could the next cloud formation be more than it seems? Does the sky hide gates to other timelines? This case reminds us that the strangest occurrences might not always come from ghost stories. They can break through on an otherwise normal day's flight plan. In December 1872, this brigantine was discovered adrift in the Atlantic. Her cargo remained intact, the sailors' personal items untouched, even the crew's clothes neatly folded. Yet no soul was on board. Why would anyone abandon a ship in perfect condition with months of supplies? Some say a mutiny or storm, but the log entries offer no sign of panic. Over time, new theories emerged, that the Mary Celeste had inadvertently sailed through a dimensional rift, sending the crew into a parallel realm while leaving the vessel behind. Ask yourself how it's possible for an entire crew to vanish, leaving behind cups of tea still warm or half-eaten meals. If a portal at sea snatched them away in an instant, it suggests these phenomena can strike anywhere, from quiet villages to lonely ships at sea. Could the Mary Celeste's biggest secret be that it strayed into the wrong place, at precisely the wrong cosmic instant? A Spanish soldier named Gil Perez, stationed in Manila, Philippines, apparently vanished from his post and suddenly materialized thousands of miles away in Mexico City, on the very same day. He reportedly wore his guard uniform, had no idea how he got there, and spoke of events in Manila that had not yet reached Mexico. Eyewitnesses testified to his confusion, and authorities locked him up for questioning. Weeks later, news arrived from Manila confirming the events Gil described, giving his story more weight. By some accounts, he was allowed to return home, recognized by fellow soldiers who swore they'd last seen him on duty before he vanished into thin air. You're on guard. The next, you're in a foreign city halfway around the planet. No planes. No explanation. Could it be an angelic intervention? A natural time warp? Or are fleeting cosmic phenomena behind these unexplained displacements? Gil's story challenges the concept of travel itself, turning it from a journey into an impossible leap. One summer night in the 1950s, a man dressed in 19th-century clothing reportedly appeared in the middle of a London street. Witnesses claim he looked disoriented and startled by the modern surroundings. Police found old coins and documents in his pockets, none dated beyond 1876. When the authorities tried to identify him, the man apparently vanished into the city's labyrinth. Some versions of the story place him in Times Square, NYC, leading to confusion about the real setting. Records show no conclusive proof of Rudolph Fentz, but the consistency of the story is enough to spark fierce debate. Transformational angle. People often brand such accounts as urban myths. But imagine if you stepped outside one night only to see a figure from centuries past, or future, materialize in front of you. Each retelling points to the notion that time might loop unexpectedly, depositing unsuspecting travelers far from when they belong. A Spanish woman named Lorena Garcia posted on an internet forum, terrified that she had woken up in a slightly different reality. According to her, small details about her life changed overnight. Her office was painted a different color. Her boyfriend was someone she had never dated before, even though they lived together. Her ex-partner, who she said she'd split from 6 months prior, apparently had no memory of their separation. Lorena tried to find rational explanations, stress, mental breakdown, but remained adamant that she had slipped from one parallel timeline into another while asleep. She claimed that the differences, though subtle, were too consistent to be coincidences, and doctors found no sign of psychosis. This story gets under your skin because it's so mundane. It's not about flying saucers or secret portals. It's about stepping out of bed and realizing the world you know has shifted an inch in every direction, just enough to drive you mad. Could we, too, move between universes in our sleep, waking up to a near-identical existence but never noticing? Airport officials in Tokyo confronted a perplexed traveler. His passport appeared genuine, loaded with stamps, but indicated he was from Taured, a country that doesn't exist. Dismissing it as a joke, they pointed to a world map, only for the man to become visibly upset that his homeland wasn't on it. According to him, Taured had existed for centuries. Suspected of forgery, the man was taken to a hotel under guard. Yet by morning, he had disappeared along with every document that proved his story. Airport staff scoured records, but everything was gone, like the entire incident was a glitch in the Matrix. Immersion. This story, bizarre as it is, resonates with primal fears of lost identity. If you woke up tomorrow and discovered your entire country had never existed in this reality, how would you cope? This one begs the question, can parallel worlds collide, letting travelers slip in from places that are real, only not to us? Perhaps the most heavily researched paranormal hotspot on American soil. Known for UFO sightings, bizarre creatures, poltergeist activity, and rumored portals that open in the night sky, this remote property has attracted the interest of the U.S. government, private billionaires, and countless thrill-seekers. Ranchers speak of bulletproof wolf-like beasts, glowing orbs that dart around farmland, and large swathes of grassland that spontaneously illuminate after dusk. Some nights, swirling vortexes allegedly appear, unveiling glimpses of otherworldly landscapes or ominous silhouettes. While skeptics mock these tales, the repeated phenomenon suggests a region where our dimension is thin, allowing glimpses, or entries, into parallel planes. Audience transformation. Skinwalker Ranch is so well documented that it's almost mainstream. If even half the reports are true, the ranch stands as a glaring red flag from the universe, reminding us that portals can be uncomfortably close to home. Next time you hear strange noises in the woods, ask yourself, are we alone, or is another dimension rubbing shoulders with ours? Stands a massive stone recess known as Aramamuru, or the Gate of the Gods. Indigenous lore says that Inca priests once used it to journey beyond our world, stepping into realms filled with cosmic knowledge. Carved into a solid rock face, this gate boasts an almost perfectly rectangular indentation, as if a door to nowhere. Legends claim a high priest fled the Spanish conquest, carrying a golden disc gifted by the gods. He reached the gate, performed sacred rituals, and a blinding blue light manifested. The priest walked into this shimmering threshold, and was never seen again. Today, travelers who press their foreheads against the stones sometimes report visions, swirling lights, unfamiliar starscapes, voices whispering in ancient tongues. Transformational edge. What if the ancients actually understood time and parallel dimensions better than we do, forging natural stargates that harness Earth's energies? When you stand at Aramamuru, you might sense a hush, as though the world is holding its breath. And you wonder, if you had the right incantation or the pure heart of an Inca priest, would the stone door yawn open and let you pass? But rumor has it he also tinkered with an unfinished invention called the spirit phone. This device, according to scattered notes and second-hand interviews, aimed to record or transmit the voices of those who had passed on, or so the rumor goes. Some accounts even suggest he collaborated secretly with Nikola Tesla to build a machine that not only contacted the dead but bent time itself. Whispers claim these two geniuses might have briefly succeeded, capturing fleeting voices from nowhere. One wild conspiracy holds that in a secret lab, they triggered a temporal distortion, glimpsing a future cityscape. There's little documentation left, supposedly seized by the government, or hidden away. But the idea that two of history's greatest inventors nearly cracked the code of time and dimension sends chills down the spine. Psychological intrigue. If time travel were feasible a century ago, imagine the shockwaves across our timeline. Are we living in a branch of reality shaped by their partial success? Could the leaps in modern tech be traces of their hush-hush experiments? Tesla famously said, "The present is theirs, the future, for which I really worked, is mine." Was that a cryptic nod to stepping beyond linear time? 13. Terence McKenna's Voyages to Other Dimensions. We end our countdown with a story that's less about physical portals and more about the uncharted realms inside our own minds. Terence McKenna, an American ethnobotanist, believed that certain psychedelic substances could unlock direct access to parallel dimensions. By experimenting with potent Amazonian brews like ayahuasca and the psychoactive alkaloids and psilocybin mushrooms, he claimed to have encountered machine elves, entities from a hyperspace that transcends our normal reality. McKenna described entire alien geometries, living fractals, and cosmic libraries brimming with knowledge older than time. He insisted these weren't hallucinations, but authentic glimpses of intelligent universes existing side by side with ours. Many have followed in his footsteps, reporting uncanny similarities, shared visions, identical beings, consistent laws of dimensional architecture. Transformational storytelling. Imagine that the gateway to time travel or dimension hopping isn't an external device, but your own consciousness. If McKenna was right, every human mind harbors latent capacity to slip the confines of linear time and peek into myriad parallel realities. That concept is equal parts exhilarating and terrifying, because it implies the largest frontier might be the psyche itself. The big question/conclusion: we've traveled across centuries, soared through cosmic gateways, and glimpsed eerie lost worlds. From entire villages evaporating to perplexed travelers stepping out of the wrong timeline, each story beckons us to reconsider the boundaries we place around time, space, and identity. Could it be that these stories are breadcrumbs, small hints that we share a multilayered existence beyond everyday comprehension? But here's the real jolt. If even one of these accounts has a kernel of truth, your universe might be drastically bigger, stranger, and more fluid than you ever dared to imagine. These 13 shocking tales stand as whispered legends that might just be chapter headings in the unwritten book of humankind's real potential. Bonus Segment A. The theoretical underpinnings. Imagine standing at the crossroads of science and the supernatural, where theories of time travel and parallel worlds converge. For centuries, philosophers and scientists have wrestled with the mysteries of time itself. Is it linear, like the steady ticking of a clock, or is it a sprawling, multidimensional web where every choice births a new reality? Time as a dimension. Modern physics, thanks to Einstein's theory of relativity, suggests that time is much like space. It can bend, stretch, and even loop. Picture spacetime as a vast, flexible fabric. Massive objects such as stars and black holes create ripples in this fabric. Now, imagine if under the right conditions these ripples could fold back on themselves. This is the idea behind a wormhole, a shortcut through spacetime that could, in theory, let someone step from one point in time, or space, directly into another. Psychological impact. The very notion of wormholes challenges our deepest assumptions about cause and effect. If you could traverse time as easily as turning a page, how would that change your understanding of life, regret, or even destiny? This possibility taps into our primal fear of lost opportunities, and our hope for a second chance. Paradoxes. The puzzles of possibility. Time travel in theory gives rise to perplexing paradoxes that both fascinate and terrify. The grandfather paradox. If you were to travel back and prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, would you even exist? The bootstrap paradox. What if you receive information from the future, use it to build something, and then, years later, send that very information back in time? Who, then, is the true originator of the idea? These paradoxes are not just mind games, they question the very structure of reality. They force us to consider, could our choices be predetermined, or is there a hidden freedom lurking in the folds of time itself? Quantum theories and many worlds enter the realm of quantum mechanics, where particles exist in multiple states simultaneously. Some physicists propose that each quantum event spawns its own universe, a concept known as the many worlds interpretation. In this view, every decision you make creates a branch in reality. Audience immersion: think of your life as a series of infinite, what-if, scenarios. In one universe, you might be an astronaut exploring the cosmos. In another, you could be reading this very script in an entirely different reality. This idea is both liberating and disconcerting, hinting that every moment is an intersection of countless possibilities. Bonus Segment B: Cultural Impact and Mythology. Time travel and parallel worlds aren't just topics for scientific journals. They're woven into the fabric of our myths, legends, and modern pop culture. Legends from ancient civilizations, ancient cultures, from the Mayans to the Egyptians, left behind cryptic texts and awe-inspiring monuments that many believe are coded messages about the nature of time. The Egyptian pyramids, for instance, aren't just grand tombs. Some theorize they were built to align with cosmic events, portals in their own right, offering glimpses into other dimensions. Cultural resonance: these ancient marvels serve as a testament to the idea that humanity has always been fascinated by the unknown. Their precise alignments with celestial bodies suggest that our ancestors might have understood, or at least felt, a connection to realms beyond our current comprehension. Modern-day pop culture and sci-fi: from blockbuster films to best-selling novels, the idea of traveling through time has captured our collective imagination. Think of classics like Back to the Future, The Terminator, or even series like Doctor Who. Each narrative explores the consequences of tampering with time, offering a blend of thrilling adventure and deep existential questions. Transformational storytelling: these stories do more than entertain. They challenge us to think about our place in the universe. They push us to imagine worlds where the rules of reality bend and twist, inviting us to explore the hidden potential of our own minds. Everyday encounters with the unexplainable. Even in our modern lives, we catch fleeting glimpses of the inexplicable, a déjà vu so profound it feels like a glitch in the Matrix, or the uncanny sensation that a moment is repeating itself. These experiences might be nothing more than quirks of the brain, or perhaps they are subtle hints that our reality is layered with more than one timeline. Audience immersion: consider the last time you experienced an unexplainable coincidence. Was it mere chance, or a whisper of another reality brushing against your own? This uncertainty not only fuels our curiosity, but also invites us to question the solidity of the world around us. Bonus Segment C: the science behind the mystery. While the stories we've explored seem like fragments of science fiction, there's a rigorous scientific quest happening behind the scenes. Researchers in fields ranging from astrophysics to neuroscience are attempting to unlock the secrets of time and dimension. Cutting-edge experiments, particle accelerators, and quantum labs. In these high-tech arenas, scientists are smashing particles together at near-light speeds, recreating conditions akin to the Big Bang. Some theories suggest that such extreme environments could briefly open windows into other dimensions. Time dilation experiments, even routine experiments with atomic clocks on high-speed jets, have demonstrated that time isn't as constant as we think. The slight differences recorded between clocks on the ground and those in flight hint at a malleable fabric of time, a cornerstone of Einstein's relativity. Neuroscience and the perception of time. Our perception of time is deeply rooted in how our brains process events. When we're in moments of intense fear or joy, time can seem to slow down or speed up. This phenomenon, known as chronostasis, suggests that time is as much a psychological construct as it is a physical one. Transformational insight: if our brains can alter the perception of time, what else might they be capable of? This opens up the tantalizing possibility that through altered states of consciousness, whether via meditation, dreams, or even psychoactive substances, we might catch a fleeting glimpse of parallel realities. Bridging the gap between theory and experience. While mainstream science has yet to conclusively prove the existence of time travel or parallel worlds, many of these experiments hint at a universe far more dynamic and mysterious than our everyday experiences suggest. The boundary between science fiction and science fact grows ever thinner, urging us to keep an open mind and continue exploring. Audience immersion: The next time you hear about a new breakthrough in quantum physics, remember that what seems impossible today might be tomorrow's discovery. These scientific endeavors remind us that the universe is a living, breathing puzzle, and we're just beginning to understand its pieces. Bonus Segment D: Philosophy, Identity, and Transformation Beyond the Science and Spectacle. The notion of time travel and parallel worlds carries a profound philosophical weight. It forces us to confront the nature of our identity, free will, and destiny. Who are we really? If time is fluid and our actions spawn infinite possibilities, then what does it mean to be you? Every choice you make might create a branching timeline, a parallel universe where you took a different path. This idea can be both liberating and terrifying. Transformational storytelling. Reflect on a time when you felt utterly powerless, a moment when life seemed to spin out of control. Now, imagine that moment was not the end but simply a junction in a vast network of realities. This perspective can be both humbling and empowering, encouraging you to view challenges as opportunities to explore uncharted dimensions of your existence. A new paradigm for consciousness. Some modern philosophers argue that understanding time and parallel worlds may require a shift in our consciousness, a leap from seeing reality as a linear narrative to embracing it as a dynamic, interconnected web of possibilities. This transformation isn't just theoretical, it's a call to reawaken the curiosity and wonder that lie dormant within us. Audience engagement. Ask yourself, what if your dreams and intuitive hunches were messages from another part of you, a version of yourself living out a different reality? This thought not only inspires creativity but also challenges you to break free from the constraints of conventional thinking. Bonus Segment E: The impact on society and culture. Time travel and parallel worlds have not only reshaped our scientific paradigms and philosophical debates, they've also left an indelible mark on society and culture. The rise of conspiracy theories in an age where information is both abundant and manipulated, the notion of hidden timelines and secret portals feeds into our deepest suspicions. From clandestine government projects to whispered rumors of elite cabals controlling the very fabric of reality, the allure of the unknown becomes a canvas upon which our collective fears and hopes are projected. Cultural resonance. Every time we encounter a headline about mysterious disappearances or inexplicable time anomalies, it stokes a shared curiosity. We start to question, is there a hidden truth behind our everyday experiences? And if so, what does that mean for our freedom, our future, and our understanding of truth? Influence on art, music, and literature. Artists have long been inspired by the idea of multiple dimensions and nonlinear time. From surreal paintings that depict endless corridors and shifting landscapes to novels where characters hop between parallel universes, these themes encourage us to envision a world that defies the ordinary. Transformational influence. Consider how stories of time travel and parallel worlds allow us to explore alternative histories. What if major events had unfolded differently? This creative exploration doesn't just entertain, it reshapes our understanding of possibility, urging us to think beyond the rigid confines of what we consider real. Technology and the future. In our modern era, as technology advances at breakneck speed, concepts once relegated to science fiction now seem within reach. Virtual reality, augmented reality, and even experiments in artificial intelligence hint at the possibility of creating simulated worlds, echoes of parallel universes that challenge our perceptions of the real and the virtual. Audience immersion. Every technological breakthrough is a reminder that what once seemed fantastical might one day be commonplace. The future of time travel, if it ever comes, may not be a dramatic leap through a wormhole but a gradual evolution of how we perceive and interact with time and space. Bonus Segment F: Personal reflections and experimental thoughts. Let's shift gears for a moment. This part is more intimate. Consider the times in your own life when reality seemed to warp, when the familiar suddenly felt alien. It might have been a moment of profound déjà vu, or perhaps a dream so vivid that waking up felt like returning from another world. Personal anecdotes. Have you ever felt an inexplicable connection to a moment that seemed to echo in your mind, a fleeting glimpse of a memory that wasn't yours? Or the unsettling sensation that a stranger on the street knew you intimately, as if their presence bridged two separate lives? These experiences, while personal, hint at something far greater, that the fabric of our reality might be more porous than we think. They invite us to look inward and wonder if our minds are capable of perceiving echoes from alternate timelines or parallel existences. The call to exploration, experimental practices. Some modern thinkers suggest that practices like deep meditation, lucid dreaming, or even carefully guided psychedelic journeys might unlock the doors to these hidden realms. By quieting the mind, you might catch a glimpse of a universe where time flows differently, a universe where the boundaries between what is and what could be begin to blur. Transformational journey. Imagine embarking on a personal quest not just for answers, but for a profound transformation. The exploration of these phenomena is not merely an academic pursuit, it is a journey into the depths of your own consciousness. And in that exploration, you may find that the boundaries of your own identity are as fluid as time itself. A shared experience. You're not alone in this journey. Across the globe, countless individuals report similar uncanny experiences, moments when the veil between realities thins. These shared stories, whether whispered in hushed tones among friends or boldly chronicled online, create a tapestry of human experience that challenges us to reconsider the nature of reality. Audience engagement. Think about your own life. Have you ever encountered something you couldn't explain? Write it down, reflect on it, and ask yourself, could it be a fleeting passage from another timeline? In doing so, you might just discover that the quest for truth is a universal human endeavor, one that unites us in our shared curiosity about the mysteries of existence. If there's one thing we've uncovered in this journey, it's this: reality is far from stable. Every bizarre case, every unsettling paradox, and every whispered legend points to a truth more elusive than we dare admit: that time is not a single unbreakable thread, but a sprawling web of interwoven possibilities. The vanishing villagers of Hoar Verde, the mystical portals of Aramamuru, the ghostly transmissions from Dodleston, and the impossible appearance of Gil Perez in a foreign land, all these stories do more than just entertain us. They challenge the very foundations of what we think we know. What if time is not a prison but a fluid sea, where events ripple in ways beyond our comprehension? What if the boundaries between past, present, and future are merely illusions created by our limited perception? And what if you, right now, are not where you were meant to be? Think about it. Have you ever had that strange feeling of disconnection, like you've slipped into a version of the world that's slightly off? A road that shouldn't be there, a song you remember differently, a friend whose memories don't match yours. We dismiss these moments as quirks of the mind, yet what if they are echoes of another timeline, brief glimpses into a reality that was never meant to be crossed? If time is as flexible as the theories suggest, if wormholes, temporal distortions, and parallel universes truly exist, then what does that mean for free will? Are we prisoners of a timeline we cannot control, or are we constantly shifting between infinite versions of ourselves, shaping reality with every decision we make? And here's the real question: if you were to step through a hidden doorway into another timeline, where your choices had been different, where history had twisted slightly, would you even notice? The unsettling truth is this: we might never truly know. But in a universe teeming with mysteries, where entire civilizations disappear overnight and people walk through time without understanding how, one thing is certain: we are far from alone in this grand cosmic puzzle. So stay open-minded, stay curious, and most importantly, stay aware. Because the next time reality flickers, the next time you wake up feeling like something is out of place, you just might be standing at the edge of a timeline that isn't yours. The question is, do you dare step forward?